Welcome to the Herd's official YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the Colin Cowherd podcast, all of our NFL instant reactions, and more football content.
So Shedeur Sanders is going to start against the Raiders. I like Cleveland to win. There's something called the Streisand effect. It's when somebody tries to hide news and it ends up making it a bigger story. That's what the Cleveland Brown conspiracy theorists believe is happening, that Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry are trying to bury Shedeur Sanders. And therefore, these conspiracy theorists think, no, you're not. We're going to make it a bigger story. Dear Shedeur truthers, ask yourself, what does Cleveland or the NFL have to benefit by sabotaging Shedeur Sanders? Number one, young fans like him. Week 1 of the season, he had a top 5 jersey. He had good ratings in college. He's kind of interesting. I'm interested. Very few mediocre quarterbacks or bad quarterbacks I care about. He's one. He's got some charisma. His dad was a superstar. The NFL has made it, and they did this years ago when Jerry Jones complained about Tony Romo getting hit so hard. They've really wrapped their quarterbacks in like saran wrap to protect them. You can't hit the quarterback. You can't drive them into the ground. They don't like quarterback injuries. They want 32 interesting teams. And right now we've got 10 teams. I won't count Miami because I still think offensively they're interesting. But now that Penix is out, Atlanta's one of them. We have 10 unwatchable teams. We have 10 unwatchable teams. It's like the bottom of the NBA. The quarterback is so valuable now. If you don't have the right quarterback, you're unwatchable. And so they want, the newspaper industry may be dying, but not the Herd Herald. Here are the 2 headlines the NFL wants Monday morning. Cleveland would love this and the NFL would. Shedeur looks prime time. Sanders throws 3 touchdowns against the Raiders. And if that one's not good enough, how about this one? Shedeur enough. Sanders right fit for Cleveland. Okay. The funny thing about this conspiracy theory, it's got 4 stages. There's been 4 different conspiracies. The first one was he dropped to the 5th round. The league is against him. Yeah, I'm not going to buy into that one. The second one was, he's on the scout team? He's behind Dylan Gabriel? Okay. The third one was, so now the Cleveland cops are in on it. They gave him 2 speeding tickets. So now you have the NFL, Kevin Stefanski, and law enforcement are all in on it. And then the fourth one was, how can you play him? He didn't get any reps with the first team. Josh Dobbs won a game without a practice in Minnesota. Okay, stop. You've got cops in on it, the league in on it, Stefanski in on it, the GM in on it. Here's the truth. And conspiracy theories begin when you just don't like the truth. The truth is he's immature. That's indisputable. And he's not that good. I'm rooting for him because I don't root against young people. Even Baker Mayfield, when I used to whack him, or Johnny Manziel, I always wanted him to win. I want him to be good. You watch the 1 o'clock window? You ever watch the 1 o'clock window on Red Zone? It gets ugly fast. They don't put the good quarterbacks in the 1 o'clock window. Josh Allen's playing later. Lamar, Mahomes, they're not in the 1 o'clock window very often, right? So Caleb, increasingly, they want to get him out of the 1 o'clock window. So here is Shedeur on his start against the Raiders.
I know our fans have a lot of expectations and hope, and I would be doing a disservice to myself and disservice to the organization if I didn't feel like I am the guy. With the circumstances, everything got to be sped up, and that's great. I like pressure in life. I'm just excited for everything.
This is a bizarrely fascinating game that the NFL can put up the Browns and the Raiders, and I'm going to watch it. My guess is he looks very good on some plays. I always thought he was more mobile than all the NFL draft gurus gave him credit for. We saw him spin move this past weekend. I think he's a little bit more mobile than people think. I also think he throws a pretty ball. I thought he had a throw to the end zone this weekend that should have been a touchdown. and he would have capped off the comeback. So, and I also think he's going to throw some really bad picks because he tends to hold on to the ball too long. And I also think he runs backwards, which he did in college. So I think it's going to be a totally mixed bag. I do think he's got the best defense in this game, and that gives him a real chance to win. Probably why I would take him. I like his coach better, and I like his defense better. So I think Cleveland's going to win with him. But he's going to run backwards on more than one occasion. It drives Stefanski crazy. And he's also going to throw a really bad pick. I mean, but that's the reality of young quarterbacks. But I do think he's more talented than the fifth round. I always did. But you can't deny he's been immature. The speeding tickets, legendary tanking pre-draft interviews, you got to do better than that. So I don't get this take at all. Pat Forty, I know Pat. He's a sports writer, covers college football. The headline of the story is Lane Kiffin's coaching circus is sabotaging Ole Miss's great college football playoff dream. Lane Kiffin is under contract at Ole Miss until 2031. He has no obligation to publicly sign an extension on Ole Miss's terms. Well, Curt Cignetti doesn't have Lane Kiffin's leverage. Curt Cignetti is not being recruited by NFL teams. Lane Kiffin is. Lane Kiffin can go pro or college. Matt Rule came out. Matt Rule doesn't have Lane Kiffin's leverage. Do you know how rarely college football coaches have leverage? Almost never. So if Lane's got a little leverage and he's under contract until 2031, he's the reason Ole Miss, he's the reason Ole Miss is relevant today. He doesn't have to, on Ole Miss's terms, when he's under contract for 5 more years, come out on your terms. Absolutely not. He's got no obligation to do that. And coaches never have leverage. I mean, you know why he has leverage? Because Florida fired their coach, Billy Napier, in season, and LSU fired their coach in season. Lane didn't do that. Lane didn't create it. So Lane, because LSU and Florida fired their coaches, Lane has to change how he views contract extension talk. What? That's ridiculous. Blame Florida and LSU. But Lane Kiffin, there's no obligation. And by the way, you know who's going to ruin Ole Miss's playoffs? Ohio State or Georgia. They'll do it for him because they're not beating either of those teams. So, this is so strange to me. The idea that he's sabotaging the season. Let me just tell you this. In any profession, if you have 5 years left on a contract, you're under no obligation to announce publicly, hey, I'm staying forever. I mean, I understand why Ole Miss is doing it because they've very rarely been this successful. And they're terrified. But Lane Kiffin's job is to coach football and win games, not to appeal or appease or placate administrators. You got him under contract for 5 years. Here was Joel Klatt yesterday and Lane's future, and he thinks he's leaving.
If he wanted to stay, he would stay, and we would have already known it. Look at all the other coaches around the country that have said they're staying or signed extensions. And Ole Miss, I know, has told him money is not a factor here. Whatever you get offered, we will match it. So it's not that he's going to make more somewhere else, which is starting to lead me to believe. And again, I will fully own I have been all over the map on this and Lane, but Lane is a unique cat. Now, I don't know if he can come back to Ole Miss. You can't lead him on for this long, and then now there's going to start to be animus. Like, why aren't you signing an extension? What's the problem? And I think he's going to Florida.
Now, he may go to Florida. I think Florida is a better job than LSU. But I'll say this again. So Joel's first comments were, well, the other guys are doing it. When the Mariners signed Robinson Cano to a 10-year deal, did everybody else have to sign their all-star infielder to a 10-year deal? When the Cleveland Browns guaranteed all that money for Deshaun Watson, why do I have to, as a GM, say, well, I've got to guarantee my money to a quarterback? Since when do the Cleveland Browns dictate terms? Since when does Ole Miss administrators dictate terms? You're lucky to have him. And yeah, he's going to get offer after offer after offer and after offer. If Florida and LSU don't fire their coaches, we wouldn't be in this situation. So I'm not going to let somebody else dictate my terms. Okay, I'm coaching, I'm winning. Every day I'm delivering. That's all I care about. And that's all Ole Miss should care about.
15 years with the Giants, 2-time Super Bowl champ. Phil Simms does some college stuff for the Believe Network as well. Our guy, Phil Simms. I saw this story.
Uh-oh.
And there's Derek Gunn is a longtime reporter in Philadelphia, and he was on the Seth Joyner show. And I was told during the summer by an executive in the NFL who I trust top to bottom, he said, Jalen Hurts is kind of beats to his own drummer. It's not Russell Wilson Seahawks, but he's his own guy. He's not rah-rah, go out beers after the game with the fellas. He's not that guy. And there was a story Derek Gunn reports this week is that he kind of runs the offense. He feels like running, and sometimes he frustrates coaches. And so between what I heard and that, he was just saying is, there's some discomfort with Hurts. So here's my question to you. Do you have to be Brady chugging beers with the rookies? Do you have to be Mahomes where everybody loves him? Or Peyton Manning would go out to dinner with teammates to pick up the bill? Do you have to be popular to be a successful long-term quarterback?
No, of course you don't. But it does help if you are popular and you do certain things and blend in with the football team. And I know Jalen Hurts has taken a lot of heat for being successful right now in the NFL. And, too, yes, is he a conservative player? Without question. Doesn't like to throw it over the middle, doesn't want to throw into tight coverage and make those type of throws. But also, he's very careful. And listen, when you got a defense like the Philadelphia Eagles, it's not the worst thing that your offense is being very careful not to turn the football over. It's a winning formula for many teams. I kind of played that way. I didn't mean to play that way, but it worked out that way. When you got a good defense, why are you out there trying to show everybody you can score 30 and 40 points? And, I think we saw something from Jalen Hurts last year. This same thing was going on. And then what happens? He goes to the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden he becomes Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, wins the MVP.
So you had a year back in the 80s. You won a Super Bowl and threw 22 picks. I have always defended interception quarterbacks. I defend Elway. I defend Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning. Aaron Rodgers was one of the first quarterbacks in my life that you got all the upside and no picks. That didn't used to. I mean, the bottom line is throw the ball down the damn field. I don't like dink and dunk guys. So Darnold has 9 games, 3+ picks. Andrew Luck had 9 games, 3 or plus picks. He's not as good as Luck. He may never win a Super Bowl, but I like the fact that Sam throws a horrible pick and it doesn't bother him at all. Where are you on interceptions, quarterbacks, bouncing off mistakes? Because Darnold had a stinker, but Andrew Luck had 10 stinkers.
Yeah, it's a lot there. I'll say this right off the start. I never had the Giants in those years when we were really winning a lot. They never said, Phil, you got to be a little more careful. Parcells was not that kind of guy. He would not get too angry. I mean, sometimes you get angry because I'd throw an interception and go, wow, that might be the dumbest play I've ever made in my career. But otherwise, what you said is true. Man, throw it down the field. We want big plays. Big plays win games. And then if I started checking it down too much, he would yell at me and go, oh, what are you worried, Sims, about your completion percentage? And, just go, hey, I'm just trying to move us down the field and score.
Right.
So, yeah, and Sam Darnold, I would just say this. We know what happened the last 2 games last year with him. And then he's playing the game. He's playing against the Rams and all that. Sometimes as a quarterback, your first, and you try to do this, is I'm not going to make that mistake today. Play it careful. If the game is close, you're playing a really good team, that's all right. When the time comes, there's going to be a big play in the game where it's going to be easy for you to make. And when you do that, it changes the narrative everywhere. But I got to tell you, some of those interceptions that Sam Darnold threw last week, wow, that's all I can say. Yeah. Wow. You got to pull it back sometimes. You just can't swing for the damn fences every time the ball's pitched to you. And that's kind of what Sam Darnold, he did it. I was really surprised. but I was also really surprised about the type of interceptions they were.
So I used to believe that you got to give a quarterback 3 years, but now they have private coaching, 7-on-7 summer drills. Kids throw 10,000 passes by the time they're 14. So my take is not 3 years. It is Thanksgiving of year 2. GM, coach, coordinator, go upstairs, raise their hands. Do we draft again or not? Do we extend eventually? So I have shortened the timeline up. So, I mean, Josh Rosen got 13 starts. Johnny Manziel got 7 or 8. What do you do with J.J. McCarthy? This is a good tool belt, Phil. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Kevin O'Connell, great left tackle. Like, this is not, this is not a bad franchise. This is not what Caleb got last year in Chicago. How long do you give J.J. McCarthy before you go upstairs, you sit in a room and raise your hand and say, guys, we got to go in another direction?
Well, he's going to get the rest of the year. I watched that game this past weekend. I thought, man, if they had like a quality veteran backup, I think they would have brought him in there. J.J. McCarthy, look, there's some things he does well. He moves around well. He's got a strong arm, but he's got one pitch. And that one pitch is, I'm going to throw the damn thing as hard as I can. And It doesn't matter if you're 10 yards or 20 or 40 yards. I mean, I think deep down the field, you see it. He's a pretty good thrower. But in the NFL, the game is really played from, let's just say, the line of scrimmage to 15 yards down the field. And you got to be a machine hitting those plays. And I haven't seen that from J.J. McCarthy. And a lot of it, there's many things. I think there are technique problems. I see people talking about it all the time. Well, tell me what it really is, and they can't do that. But you got to hit all those routine throws. And that's one of the biggest thing I think hurts him and hurts the football team right now. And I'll give credit to the receivers. They're very good. They're successful, and they're kind of biting their tongue, and they're not getting on the quarterback yet. But, man, he's got to pick up the way he plays. He's got to become more accurate throwing the football.
Okay, I want to ask you 2 questions because you do college football stuff, and I'll get to Mendoza in a second. I want to start with Shedeur Sanders. I thought he was at worst, mid to late second-round guy. The people I trusted in the NFL said, yeah, I mean, he's mid-second. They liked him as much as Jackson Dart, some more. And he drops to the 5th. I then heard about him basically blowing the Giants interview bad, the legendary stuff all over his draft room, the speeding tickets, obviously some maturity issues there that I didn't know about. He starts this weekend. Were you, when you were doing your college stuff the last few years, were you a Shedeur fan or did he run backwards too much? There were signs he could be impatient. Where were you on him coming out of college?
Well, listen, the fact that I don't look at their stats and say, oh, he ran around too much, those are things you can really correct in very short time. I did like him in college. Look, to me, he plays really big on the field. Does he take too many sacks and try to extend plays? Absolutely. He did it last week when he came in the game. He did it in college. But there's many things here. I think he'll play, of course. I think everybody thinks he'll play really well against the Raiders. The Raiders, the defense, not that good. Kevin Stefanski, when I watched him over the years, go back to when Joe Flacco took the team to the playoffs and all that, they had one of the best, if not the best, deep throwing offense in the NFL. So many good designs as Stefanski's really good at. And you know what? That fits Shedeur. He's another guy. He's good throwing the ball deep down the field. He's a good short thrower, but it's the in-betweens that you worry about. And I would be shocked. And I said this to somebody working with you. I just said, I believe when they start the game this weekend, he'll be about 8 for 10 out of the first 10 throws because they're going to give him screens, make sure it's easy, get him involved in the game. And then as time goes on, they'll open it up and give him and do what he's probably best at. And that's getting a little more protection and throwing the football deep down the field. I don't know if I answered your question. That's what I think.
Yeah, no. Fernando Mendoza played at Cal. Yes. The kid is supposed to be an unbelievable student. Yes. And at Indiana and Cal, he's not playing with 5-star Bama Ohio State guys. That's not what he's playing with. I like that, by the way. I like college guys who come out of Cal, NC State, yourself, smaller schools. It's not Georgia talent. It's like middling talent that you got to throw open. I think he separated himself in that Penn State drive. I watched that drive and I thought, on the road, big pass rush. Penn State's got elite defensive players, and right in the teeth of it, he just threw Sunday throw, Sunday throw, Sunday throw. I see potentially a really high-end college kid. What do you see?
I see a really high-end college kid, big time. And I mean, if you're phrasing it about the pros, I think he'll be a very successful quarterback in the pros. I mean, he's tall. I did their game against Iowa, probably the worst game of the year for him. But I didn't come away with it going, oh, my gosh, he played bad. In fact, I came away and I said, all the talents you want to see in the NFL, he showed you on that field. He just makes great throws. He's got a very compact motion, spins the ball, can really drive it, and he's tough as hell. And the other thing that really I like these college quarterbacks that are playing somewhat of a pro offense.
Yes.
I look at Indiana, and, man, they do the same damn thing every week, and they might put a little dressing to it sometimes, but I like everything about him. I think some people worry, oh, is it going to work? Is he mobile enough? Hey, man, when you're a quarterback like him who's been taught so well and has the talent, that he's going to learn very quickly, hey, the NFL's different, and I think he'll be somewhat of an instant success. Kind of like Jackson Dart. I mean, he played Lane Kiffin. It's got so many pro looks to it, and all the experience, all those years and all those throws, it translates to the NFL very quickly. It's not like Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams was always in charge, and now he's playing better. Why? Because Ben Johnson is stepping on him.
Yeah.
And the offense fits him. And, of course, he's learning and everything. So I do like Mendoza a lot, Colin, to answer your question.
What you just said is exactly what a top offensive coach told me this week off air. He told me, he said, Indiana runs so many, he'll be an easy quarterback to evaluate. They run so much pro stuff that it's very obvious. You'll know he goes, this coach said, I watched him a couple times on TV. You can see they're running pro stuff. He'll be an easy evaluation. Even Mahomes out of the Big 12, nobody knew if some of that stuff was going to work. Or like Josh Allen at Wyoming. You're like, hey, that's bad competition. I've been told now that he'll be an easy comp. There's a lot of Sunday stuff, and you just echoed it. So you're seeing the same thing my guy was.
Yeah, I these college quarterbacks, when I'm bored, I try to go through all these guys and just watch them real quick and just seeing him in person and talking to him. I mean, he's everything you want at the professional level and being your quarterback, the guy, So, it's hard on these young quarterbacks. Like I've said before and probably said to you already, and we judge them too hard, too fast. And, so we're seeing some of these guys in the second year. Caleb Williams, he's the greatest example of all. He's coached differently, different offense. It fits him. And, he's got pride. And so he shows that in the way he's playing. And I'm excited just watching and seeing Ben Johnson with him and how they're doing it. And I know they're being tough on him, and he's taking it the right way, and it shows on the field.
As always, Phil, it's great seeing you.
Is that it?
Well, it's 12 minutes. That's on my show. That's a big hit.
It is, okay. Hey, there's a couple of guys. One earlier, Bo Nix, he's a man, okay?
You like him.
He's a man. And he does not even flinch when he's playing the game. There he is against Kansas City. He's looking for the kill shot. And, of course, he's coached by the guy that's right with him, and Davis Webb's there helping the quarterbacks. I mean, that's just one. These young quarterbacks, I hear a lot of talk that, Bo Nix, this and that. Yeah, he might not be at the top of his game yet, but he's finding a way to get there, and I love watching him play too.
By the way, he is also aggressive. He's an aggressive thrower of the football.
Absolutely. He's not check down Charlie, let's put it that way. Yeah. And he did it against Kansas City, so you saw that. He's willing to do the right thing and take a chance and not worried about if he's going to be the GOAT or the hero, which is pretty cool.
Good seeing you.
All right.
Good seeing you. Thank you, Phil.
Good seeing you. Thanks for having me on. J-Mac, keep working on those arms, man. They're looking good.
Anytime J-Mac gets a chance to do the gun show.
What? These are all natural. I'm not doing steroids.
Yeah, I mean, your shirts are always a little tighter than mine, but that's okay.
It's medium is my favorite size.
J Mac with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
I don't know, Colin. I mentioned the Neuro Gum yesterday. I feel like you popped some last night because you're on fire today. And I want you to listen to this. Fernando Mendoza, one of the hottest quarterback prospects in the 2026 draft. He was the topic of a podcast earlier this week. Remember, Joe Klatt gassed him up on the show. He liked him. Well, take a listen to this, and I want you to focus specifically on Urban Meyer as this group talks about Fernando Mendoza.
When I cut the ball, I looked over there and I saw his hips and eyes turn. So at that point, all I knew, I needed to just beat that boundary curl defender and beat that boundary safety. And once I saw that safety go over the top to the outside receiver, defending the whole shot, I just knew that I needed to put some arc and layer on it over that hook defender after that kind of like the hook curl defender in order to make that completion. Because I knew the other guy, the Joker, had his hips to the speed.
I got
Fernando, do you see Coach's
Rob,
face right now? Hold on. Look at your face,
This is like the
Coach.
best I've ever heard.
This is what I'm saying.
This is
Fernando, look at his smile.
Now,
this is as intense and happy as he's been in years.
Yeah, I was told by an NFL coach of some esteem this week that Mendoza is an easy player to comp because Indiana runs some NFL stuff. And so he's an easy player to look at film and say, okay, he's this. He can do that, because Indiana runs enough Sunday stuff, pro stuff, Signetti. So I think he is the one quarterback in the draft that is a franchise changer. I think he's really good. I think he's smart. He's big. I mean, just the description there to Urban. I think he's actually right now being the idea that people think that Ty Simpson and him are in the same class. No, they're not. This kid was great at Cal with Cal players. He's great at Indiana with Indiana players. A lot different having Kalen DeBoer and Bama talent. I think he's separated. Dante Moore, I think, is gifted, but he's 20 and needs another year in college. To my take, I think he's separated from everybody I've seen in college football.
So about 6 weeks ago, I mentioned this. The Wall Street Journal did an article on Fernando Mendoza. Just think about that. The Wall Street Journal. Okay, this isn't some sports publication. This guy is at getting his second graduate school degree right now. He's a genius. Legitimately, his offseason isn't, throwing to wide receivers in Miami. Okay, he's doing business school in the offseason, and he's got internships. This is a literal genius, Colin. And I'm telling you, he would be so good with my New York Jets. Bring some stability and calm. Now, obviously, there's going to be questions. Does a nerd like this fit into an NFL locker room, which is, tough guys? I would hope so.
You know what?
He's a smart kid, and I like smart. I want him on my team.
Yeah, I will tell you this. Brady used to, before Brady won Super Bowls and was cool, Brady could be a little nerdy. Peyton Manning was never cool. Andrew Luck was not cool at all. I worry when a quarterback wants to be cool, like that. Johnny Manziel being cool mattered a lot. Yeah. I mean, Kirk Cousins won a lot of games being socially nerdy. I'm sorry. I'm okay with it. This kid, and I'm serious on this. You know what I feel like I get? Andrew Luck without the reckless. That's what I feel like I'm watching. I think he's this good. I think he is Andrew Luck. And again, Andrew Luck had Stanford teammates. A lot of 3-star guys at Stanford. It's not like Indiana's 5-star guys. I feel like I'm getting some Andrew Luck qualities. Big, smart, tough, can move well enough, but a true pocket guy, but I don't get the mistakes.
Well, the real test will be if he can go to a rotten franchise like the Jets or the Browns or the Saints and elevate them. That's the true test of greatness.
Go watch him against Ohio State, because that is 3 top 12 defensive players. Matt Patricia, I don't think he's going to win, but when he went to Oregon against Dan Lanning's defense and he tore it up in Autzen, really impressive.
Yeah, I'm a fan. Jets just need to lose a few more games to secure Mr. Mendoza. All right, let's move on to, we never talk about this guy, Aaron Rodgers. Reports are now, Colin, that he may try to play this weekend against the Bears with the broken bone in his wrist. Now, we know Rodgers, spending many years with the Packers, hates the Bears. He would do the celebration, would joke about owning them. Listen, here he is talking to reporters about the Bears.
it's a great rivalry. I mean, in the history of all sports, you talk about the Lakers and the Celtics and the Red Sox and the Yankees. You got to talk about the Packers and the Bears. And there's been some great memories there. When I first got to Green Bay, the Bears had the all-time series lead. When I left, Packers did. And since J. Love has taken over, it's even gotten better. But I hope those fans can put that behind them. I'm sure they can.
I think this is fascinating because I want to see Aaron play because I think he gives them the best chance to win, and I want a good game. It's just how interesting are the Bears games? It's amazing. You get an offensive coach, you get a young quarterback with all sorts of horsepower. Bear games to me are must watch. I think it's a real, because I will say this. I kind of know what I get every week from Chicago. They're going to run the ball a lot, and they're going to run it pretty well, and they're going to be very good late, and the game will be close. I kind of feel Pittsburgh week to week, blown out by Seattle, and then can come the next week. I mean, they can play the Jets and struggle. They could get blown out at home, win on the road. I never know what I'm getting from Pittsburgh. They are a chameleon to the environment, so I think it's a fascinating game.
Yeah, I don't know. The line is saying that Rodgers is going to play. Remember, it was stuck on 3 most of the week with Mason Rudolph. Now we're seeing 2.5. I mean, listen, this isn't difficult for your Bears, right? Hey, I just looked at the weather report. It's going to be like 40s or 50s Sunday, no rain or anything.
Yep.
So you got to blitz Rodgers. You got to get after him and say, hey, we're not going to let you chuck it up to DK Metcalf and hope that he fumbles the ball in the pocket because he's got to be wearing something on his hand with the broken wrist. So I bet the Bears earlier this week, not feeling great about it, but go Chicago. Final story, Colin, Lamar Jackson. Bad news yesterday. Okay, this is yesterday. He missed practice with an ankle injury. Not great. I just checked as we went live here a few moments ago. Lamar Jackson jogged out of the stadium. He is at practice today. So he missed yesterday. We don't know if he's throwing today or just making an appearance. But this is a little troubling facing my Jets. Huge 2-touchdown favorites down to 13.5. Tyrod Taylor starting for the Jets. The Ravens have no room for error, Colin. They must have Lamar because you saw them without him earlier this year. Not good.
They're fine. They're going to win convincingly.
Okay. All right.